Ananya, what are your opinions on commodification of human milk empowering or exploitative?
Well, let's leave that to the experts. For the cause, we have Dr. Kanya, and against is Dr. Sushma. And to moderate this controversial debate, we have Dr. Suresh Kumar and Dr. Shashikala.
Have an interesting debate. Is the commodification of human milk empowering or exploitative? It is by Dr. Kanya versus Dr. Sushma Nangia. For is by Dr. Kanya. I would like Dr. Shishkala to introduce Dr. Kanya.
Hello. Gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Kanya Mukhopadyay. She has number 10 awards, Fellow of National Neonatology Forum, and she's the founder of the Human Milk Bank in PGMI Chandigarh. She has written 20 chapters in various books and has over 100 papers published. Her special interest is in neonatal and infant nutrition. She is a secretary of Human Milk Bank Association of India for 2024 and 25. Highly accomplished, so we're looking forward to your debate.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank the LAMBCON organizers. So, what is commodification? Basically, it is the packaging and selling of human milk or other products for the financial gain. But this is totally against ethics, emotion, and cultural significance of the breastfeeding. And unfortunately, in our country, till now there are no regulations or there are no laws to stop it. To how to whether to not to do the commercialization. So why we are debating today commodification should be done or not? Because we know that the small preterm babies are surviving more and more in our country, so they need human milk, but we do not have that much of supply from the various milk banks, and there is IMS Act to stop the commercialization. So that's what is the debate for, and I am talking against somebody who is Dr. Sushma Nangia, who has been totally against it. So the breast milk basically is to be used only for that mother's baby, we know that, and if it is not available, then it is the donor milk, but it is not available, and non-availability of DHM in all hospitals where there are small and sick babies get admitted. We know we do not have that many milk banks. So that's why the neonatologists are forced to use this commercial milk. And this is told that this is only to bridge till mother produces her enough milk, but not always that happens. In our country, we know about 3.5 million preterm births are occurring, and of which about proportion of less than 32 weeks and less than 1.5 kilo babies must be about 20 to 30%. So if their mother's milk are not sufficient, what do we give them? So that is a big challenge. And if you look around the world, you will find that in India, the color which is the lightest green here, it is less than 1 per 1 lakh of preterm deliveries we are having of the total deliveries we are having the milk bank density. So there is a huge deficit of the demand and the supply. And if you look at the Indian milk bank, total number of milk bank status, it is currently about, I would say 120 to 125. And some states, unfortunately, are not having even a single milk bank. Forget about district wise or area wise. Some states, zero milk bank. So what is to be done with these babies? The small babies are born everywhere, every state. So what to do with these babies if their mothers are not available immediately? Because many outborn babies who are coming, their mothers are at a far off place. Many mothers are very sick, admitted in ICU. So what to do with these babies? There is an increasing demand of donor milk all over the world. It is not only in India. There are preterm babies, high rate of births, and they need this DHM. And people are aware that the benefits of the breast milk due to a lot of awareness being spread, and they want to use this breast milk from some other mothers, and there is now retort processing of the milk. That means you have packaged it and sterilized it, it is ready for use. You don't have to transfer the milk somewhere, like the way fruit juice industries work. So it is now easily available, pasteurized, safely transported. Only thing is the cost is quite high. Now, if I show you the practical issues, you know that Abbott recently got a penalty of $495 million. In USA, there was a court case. Small baby was given formula, but parents were not aware the risk of NEC, so they got a penalty of $495 million. So I thought I'll make a calculation for our country if some baby develops neck. So let's see a small baby who is admitted in an ICU somewhere in India. This baby will need at least minimum extra hospital stay of 2 to 3 weeks, maybe up to 4 weeks. And that would cost in a private setup probably 1 lakh or more. Baby would need TPN for again that 2 to 3 weeks, because even after 15 days you start a feed, you will start with 1 ml and you will keep on increasing over next 10 days. So that will cost another 1 lakh. Antibiotics, surgical cost and others would cost another 1 lakh. So let's say total approximately 3 lakh the family is spending. Now in this 3 lakh, the patient could buy at the rate of 1 ml 15 rupees, which is the current price of the milk which is available in the market, is about 20,000 ml. Can be purchased in this 3 lakh rupees, which is if you pay 200 ml per day, to that it will be 100 days of feeding. So now you decide you want to pay for this 100 days of milk, or you want to pay for this NEC and complications with associated mortalities or morbidities. So I just thought of making this calculation. So interpretation is yours. So the type of milk banks which are available who gives this milk are the non-profit milk banks, which are in the government setups mostly. There are some profit milk banks, and there are pharma companies who are using it, getting this milk and making different types of products. So these are the USA, India and UK companies who are selling the milk for profit. And they produce various type of commercial products, starting from the liquid milk to the fortifier, to the freeze-dried products, and even human milk fortifier is also made by these companies. And they are available, some are available in India, but in US and all on the internet, most of the products are available. The company who is making human milk fortifier, their justification was bovine milk fortifier can produce NEC. But there has been a big study published in Lancet that it doesn't reduce any NEC, sepsis or death. So there is no need for human milk based fortifier, which is very, very costly, which is available in our country also. Another justification of having this human milk fortifier, that you can adjust the fortification, you can have only hydrolyzed protein in it, or you can have only calcium phosphate supplementation, that can be done. Another product which is available, freeze-dried human milk powder. This can be used for a long period, and this can be used when mothers are at work or traveling, and in fact she can freeze dry her own milk and can use it later on for at least next 6 months to 1 year. However, on the side by side, there are a lot of uses, I would say rather abuses or misuses of the human milk, and this is used by cancer patient, transplant patient, burn cases. If you look at the internet, you will find that human milk being used for so many things. But all these are not evidence based, and these are just on some presumption basis and some lab based some research, but there is no scientific basis for them. This is really a misuse. And this one is the Chennai shop which got sealed because they seized the bottles of human milk they were selling. So now breast milk for the other babies, like adopted babies, the babies who are preterm, adopted preterm babies, what do you feed them? Their mothers will never have milk. Then there are many places where there is no maternity benefit there. Not all mothers get it. Various type of factories and other places, there is no benefit. Private companies, they don't give 6 months of maternity leave. Then workplace may not be conducive for the mother to breastfeed. I'll not touch the wet nursing and informal milk sharing because already we had the debate by Dr. Manglavarti and Adivashan. Now, so I would say yes, some amount of commercialization probably can be allowed, but remember that it has to be an equitable distribution, it has to be safe, there should not be exploitation of the mothers, and mothers must get support for the lactation. And but remember, online products, which was also discussed again in the morning, it could be contaminated and adulterated. It has been found that there are cow's milk in that milk which was sold as human milk. So the current status of milk bank, as I have already told. So my carry home messages are, of course, MOM remains the first choice, DHM from a non-profit milk bank a second choice. Now, when to allow commercial human milk, that probably in the sick neonates less than 32 weeks 1.5 kilo till they recover, or mother is able to provide their own milk, preterm adopted babies, and secondly there is no facility of DHM available, and in some cases of more than 32 weeks babies, if there is a high risk of NET, like in cases of AREDF, absent and reverse endostolic flow, and DHM not available. However, we must remember there has to be a strict regulation in place that yes, only for these indications we can use the commercial milk, but and not at like whenever you feel like give it, which is currently happening in many places in India. So it can be used under strict regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kanya. Now, request Dr. Sushma Nangya to speak against the commercialization. She doesn't require an introduction, but anyhow, for the formality, she is Director and Professor of Neonatology, Lady Hardinge Medical College, New Delhi, and she is NNF President also. Over to you, Dr. Sushma.
Thank you, chairpersons, for this privilege to speak here, and thank you, LAMBCON, for having this debate. It is sad to see that my worthy opponent went into the calculations, lengthy ones, to convince you, finally it is all money which makes the mare go. Let's talk about, is commodification of human milk empowering or exploitative? Obviously, commodification of the mother's milk is exploitative. I mean, is there a need for a debate? I don't think there is any need for a debate. It's very clear. How can it be empowering? It doesn't empower the baby, it doesn't empower the mother, it only empowers that commercial milk company. So, commodification itself is unethical, against motherhood, and against the natural process of breastfeeding her own baby. You see, ethics, values, standards, where have they gone? It's all commercial, it's all money which we are talking about. So commodification, she has rightly defined as commercialized human milk. It can be defined as packaging and sale of human milk products for financial gain. So wherever there is financial gain coming in, it doesn't empower anybody but the person who's getting financial gain from it. High-cost commercial human milk products, they are entering into the market in an uncontrolled, non-evidence manner, which is fueled by aggressive and misleading marketing. And these tactics are very similar to what came in when the infant formula companies came in. They showed you Bonnie babies on the tin, and they were being advertised that if you feed this, the babies are going to be healthy and Bonnie. Over the last few decades, demand for breast milk as a commercial product has grown. And who's responsible for this? It is the message that breast is best. And this has driven the parents who are aware. This has driven the caregivers and also the physicians to buy breast milk. The physicians would rather be doing what? Helping the mother, encouraging mother to pump her milk, express her milk, and feed mom to her own baby. But then they are getting driven to buy the breast milk. So potential misuse. Companies producing a range of breast milk products are coming up around the globe, US, England, Europe, and now even in India. Even the So what is happening? Many of the unwell, like the cancer patients, the transplant patients, the burn patients, even bodybuilders, athletes and die-hard vegans are known to use it. So if an athlete uses a drug or a steroid, his blood sample can show it. But if he uses human milk, it doesn't come up on his sample. So he can very well do that. This is the concern about commercialization. There were some issues raised. So what you see on the right side, I'm not sure the pointer. On the right side is an article that came in the Times of India in 22 July. And what you see on the left side is a recent one in 24 May that the government has taken cognizance after the efforts of many of us. So we have a group in NNF which is B2SP2, breast milk, breastfeeding promotion, breastfeeding support, and breastfeeding protection. So this group is being led by some of our worthy members, and we have produced a white paper given to the Ministry of Health, the DGHS, and commercialization of human milk people, we are working on that. So is it just in the news? So this is the whole article on sale of breast milk, which raises eyebrows, 2022, and no commercial sale of human milk, which was pledged by our Health Minister, Minister for State, Bharti Praveen Pawar, where she said that they have written to Ayush Ministry to cancel the license. But is it only the scribes and the media? So there was an opinion piece editorial where I had asked, this is again Times, I had asked human milk should not be a business. We must ask from where does it come? And please ask these people, where do you source the milk from? They are mum on that. They cannot tell you where they get the milk from. So is it cow's milk? Is it some animal milk which is being mixed and adulterated? We don't know. But then is this only the media, the scribe, or is there some evidence behind it? So there is enough published literature where we have compared the for-profit milk industry to non-profit human milk banking. And this is the time for regulation. This paper dates back to September last year, 23. Then we are repeating the errors of the past. There is a response to that by GAMBA. And GAMBA is a group of 67 countries milk bank experts so this is the group which is working on this as well, in addition to many other things. And then non-profit human milk banking. This is on a challenging path, but we need to have more milk banks in the country so that there is non-profit human milk banking. Nobody is against having a milk bank, but it should be non-profit. It should not be exploitative. Let me give you what is exploitation. Probably people don't understand what we mean by exploitation, and hence we do all the commercial angle to it, and we say 3 lakh rupees there vis-a-vis 3 lakh rupees here. But it is some mother who is donating the milk, and she may be potentially depriving her own baby if she is in need of money. So let's look at some of the examples of exploitation. Exploitation 1, exploitation of donors, pumping for profit. So if some mother is getting profit, some money for her milk being sold, she may opt for that as against feeding her own baby. Exploitation for monetary benefit. Exploitation 2, inequity of access. Those who have money, the IT parents who have money for their one baby who is preterm, they can buy. But imagine a baby whose parents are poor, so there is inequity. Look at this. Each ml is costing 15 rupees. In 1 ml, if you have 15, 16 drops, so it's like 1 rupee per drop is the rate at which it is being sold. Let me give you one more example, safety and quality. So in commercial settings, we have no regulation. Is human milk a drug? Is it a food? Or is it product of human origin, which is for medical use? Nobody knows where to categorize it. So very conveniently, the company categorizes this as a food and gets a license from FSSAI. When that doesn't work, goes to Ayush and gets a license from Ayush. Look at the 4th exploitation. There is potential for fraud. That milk, where do you get so much volume? That kind of milk, is it being adulterated by other milk or some other source? We don't know. So diversion from milk banks. So if you have two milk banks in the same city, one is non-profit, the other is for profit. The woman who is donating milk gets some money from the from-profit milk bank. She would not donate to a non-profit milk bank. She would rather donate there and get some money out of it. So the moment money enters into it, it's spoiling the whole thing. Ethical sourcing. Some examples of ethics in exploitation. Ethical sourcing. So in Utah, there was milk bank which was sourcing milk from Cambodia, the poor mothers from Cambodia, and this was being fed to babies in the US and ICUs. Second one in Detroit, where African American mothers from within the country of US were the source, and this was being fed to urban, I don't want to say white, but that's what it means, urban babies there in Detroit. Impact on breastfeeding rates. Some of the mothers who or some of the families who can afford would rather say, okay, I can buy medicines, I can as well buy milk. So if there is a potential for buying milk, they would buy it rather than the mother undergoing the process of pumping for her own baby and taking care. But that's not physiological, that's not normal. That's not the mother-baby getting bonded. Potential for other misuse, we've spoken about that. Once again, some athletes, some bodybuilders and others who are using it, instead of using the drugs or the steroids, and this is a way of life for some vegans and veganisms. So commercialization and commodification of breast milk needs to be stopped and stopped right away. Let's preserve breastfeeding, the pillar of mother-child bonding, rather than getting into the economics of what we should be doing, what we should not be doing. So thank you so much. My worthy opponent, I'm so happy to have you here. You can come for rebuttal, I think.
I have been fighting for no commercialization. Yesterday's workshop was, I spoke a lot that it is not to be commercialized, but it was for debate purpose. And I showed my first disclaimer that I definitely do not support. But just what I want to say, there are real issues in our country because we don't have that many milk banks and we have lots and lots of small babies. So what I want to say that probably with a very strict regulation, we can use under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 these conditions only. Like a baby who is 700 grams, let's say mother is some far off place, and what do you give? We are promoting enteral nutrition, early aggressive enteral nutrition. What will you give? Formula? It will damage the baby's tummy. So what I want to say, we can use it, but only under very strict regulations. So I want to ask Sushma madam, what do you do if there is no blood bank? There are states, you know, where there is not a single even milk bank, but they have lots of NICUs in their cities. And we have so many babies from 24-weeker we are salvaging. So where is your early aggressive or early trophic nutrition? What will you give them?
Early total enteral feeding.
Yeah, so that is your again, you are for it, I am also for it, but what do you give to a tiny 600-gram baby whose mother is not there?
Okay, so I agree with Dr. Kanya that we have lots of preterm babies. So my point here is that we have to speak to the mother. We had a panel of obstetricians here, so we need to prime the mother from the beginning that your milk is the best for your baby, and we need to support her, empower her. We need to ensure that she starts pumping from the word go. So if you have pumping which is started within the first hour of birth of the baby, that is the excellent thing because it stimulates the breast. If not, at least by 6 hours, the first pumping should be done. But what is happening is the mother is away, the baby is separated, and then the mother is not expressing because somehow the physicians would be the ones who would say, oh, we are not feeding your baby right now, the baby is nil by mouth, so when we need you, we will call you. And that time gap that happens, it's the most destructive thing that is happening for a mother-baby diet. So what I would say is that, you know, WHO has classified mom here, mother's own milk is at the top. That is the best for her own biologic baby. What comes next is express preterm milk for preterm babies. Then maybe express term milk But that milk sharing we cannot do because we don't have all the mothers who have undergone testing antenatally. The fourth one, as per WHO, is donor milk, and the fifth one is preterm formula. So it's for us to, understand as to what we perceive. Donor milk is just above the preterm formula. So if you have adequately prepared preterm formula and you are working on the mother to get some milk, if not at 2 hours, if not at 4 hours, if not at 6 hours, if not at 12 hours, sometime during the first 24 hours, the mother will be expressing milk, provided we are working on her, and that milk is available in the NICU. And once we can feed a partial amount as the mother's milk and the remaining is preterm formula, it's not damaging the gut. It's only the baby is kept nil by mouth that damages the gut maximally. What next damages is pure formula feeding. But if there is mother's own milk to some extent, which comes in, so it's constantly we have to work on the mother. Definitely we should have milk banks being opened, which are not for profit, which are helping others in a hub and spoke model. What we are trying to establish across the country, there is one hub, which is the CLMC, and there are spokes, which are only lactation management centers or LMUs, and one CLMC helps and supports the other LMUs or LMCs by them collecting the milk. This is being brought here, it is being processed, by that I mean pasteurized, and given back to the same LMC using for their NICU SNSU babies. So if that is the model that we can thrive on, I'm sure we can move ahead without commercialization of milk banking. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree that yes, we must stop the misuse of this commercial for commercial milk which is available. I agree with her that mothers are not at all even told to express the milk. They are told you are sick, okay, you take rest for 2 days, and same thing happens even for the term cesarean big babies.
Yeah.
That they are told no need to feed the baby.
No, I think that things are changing. Thank you very much for this lovely debate. But I think in a utopian condition, we should be doing non-commercialization and non-commodification of breast milk. But in the meantime, when there are a lot of NICUs and lack of breast milk, we may be in a short gap, you may be using this commercial use. But actually, I was speaking to Dr. G.N. Rao, who established the L.V. Prasad Eye Institute. When he started, he was told, don't even talk about corneal transplant, corneal donation. You come to India, just do your cataract surgeries. But he says now we have finished 50,000 cataract surgeries in L.V. Prasad. There's the largest in the Asia Pacific region, and their eye bank is the largest in the world. So these are things can change, and we should always be positive, and we should aim at having a milk bank in every center, every district, and then help all our preterm babies. So in the stopgap period, maybe a little bit of commercialization, but that should be stopped. And we should always aim at having a good milk bank. And of course, from obstetrician side, we will be totally on cooperating with the pediatricians, and because the final thing is, it's the baby, it's the take-home baby, and the quality and the morbidity of the preterm baby, how to avoid it, is a responsibility of both the obstetrician and the pediatrician.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kanya and Dr. Sushma. The take-home is that first thing is breast milk is best. Next is mother's own milk. Then comes the donor milk. Last, maybe commercial, the human milk which is available. But that should be, it should be taken with a rider. We have so many problems with that. That will be last thing in the benefiting the baby.
Audience poll, how many of you are for commercialization of breast milk? Please raise your hands.
Nobody will raise.
No.
Thank you. Thank you, Bernardo. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, speakers and the moderators, for this amazing session, which was both informative and controversial both.